teachings, because I'll go quite a bit into the Gnostic teachings. Oh, so from the Gnostic teachings, we know about the monad. Monad is the purity of source and the all-loving, all-present source. So she was the generating power of the monad, the divine wisdom consciousness. She wasn't just the divine feminine. She was both masculine and feminine principles. They both emerged from Sophia. So it really expands our platform of what the Holy Sophia is. So Pistis Sophia, which is one of the Gnostic teachings, is a feminine, shows us that Sophia is a feminine current that holds God's mind. She is the womb of understanding. And the soul's intuition that bridges heaven and matter. So the first part of the talk, I'm going to talk a little bit about Sophia, who she is. The second part, I will talk about the origins of Sophia and how we've got ourselves in this state in the world. And the third part, I'll share with you some invocations that have come through for me with the alchemical elements and how we can include Sophia and all the different aspects of the divine feminine and the goddesses that have come through. So I've got a bit of work there. So when we have the higher Sophia, I said, was the one that was both the mother and the father, the origin of creation and of individuality. She was called the Chokhmah as well, of wisdom. Sophia, the daughter, so Sophia the mother, then the lower Sophia was Sophia the daughter. This was Mary Magdalene. She created the physical world and continues to incarnate for the redemption of the world, like the Bodhisattva. Even Mary Magdalene was offered the great position of sitting at the left hand of God when Christ was sitting at the right hand, and she gave up that position. She said, no, I'm going to keep working in the world until all beings have salvation, and especially the women and the children, but all beings. So she's very present amongst us, and when I hear about women doing amazing, great things, I think Magdalena in action, the Magdalena archetype and the rays of her being are just so pervasive all through history, and Facebook is great to show us all the beautiful women that have come through history that have held aloft the light of truth amidst the darkness of human ignorance that we talk about in the Sufi path. So what happened, Sophia is also like the soul's intuition. So this comes back to our own experience of the Sophia. When we're using our intuition, we are using the Holy Sophia. That intuition bridges heaven and matter. So just like we have the cross, the vertical, which represents the spirit, and the physical, which represents the matter. We have that joining there. Sophia fell into creation. Her spirit became matter, became flesh. She became the human story. And then Magdalene was Sophia's breath in flesh. She was her intuition, compassion. She reflected Yeshua. It was a cosmic relationship in balance. And that was what the Mary Magdalene teachings give us, is that Mary Magdalene and Yeshua showed what it could be like when you had this balance of relationship. And whereas not just patriarchy or even matriarchy, but a balance of both, which is, I believe, where we're coming to. So the Holy Trinity can be seen as wisdom, word, and flesh. It's interesting. Wisdom, word, and flesh. So the wisdom is like the divine thought, and that is the Sophia. The word is Yeshua. He became the awakened messenger. And the flesh was Mary Magdalene as well, who brought these teachings into her being. She was the living reflection of the wisdom in human form. So Jesus actually had two female archetypes with him, or beings. One was in the invisible, Sophia, on his left-hand side, or maybe right, I don't know. But anyway, on both sides, he had the Sophia and he had the real embodied life, Mary Magdalene. So he was called the Christed feminine, but he wasn't recognized as such, the Christus Sophia. And in the Gnostic teachings are saying when it comes to the end of the age, this will be a recognized energy. And I believe this is what's happening all around the world, that we are seeing the Christed Sophia in his awakened archetypal state. So the spirit descends, like Sophia descended. The wisdom guides, and then humanity awakens. So a lot of the anointings that Mary Magdalene did were about embodiment and initiation of this Sophianic process. So Sophia gives light, Jesus gives the word, and Mary Magdalene gives us the embodiment. Now, this was all going very well in the early church. Well, there were a lot of variations in the early church, like in the first 300 years. However, there was the Church of the Way and the Chalice Way, and Mary Magdalene's teachings were with the Desert Fathers and Mothers. But when it came to the Council of Nicaea in the 4th century, 350 AD or thereabouts, it transformed this mystery that was a Sophia into a monarchy. They had the fear of what women represented. It was a mirror of their inner power who sees the divine within, but it was a threat to them. So they suppressed the divine feminine. Humanity was suppressed, their intuition, their inner authority, truth and emotion. A collective amnesia that governs the modern soul exists because of that. But when we hear the intuition and the whisper of our soul, that is the Holy Sophia. Sophia is the higher mind within you, the quiet wisdom that sees beyond duality. So beyond the sun and the moon, it is said, one of the Gnostic teachings of the new moon Zikr, beyond the sun and the moon, you'll find the path of the cross. And we have, like, the Rosicrucians have a rose right in the middle of the cross. And this rose represents our mortal being, the fragility of our mortal being, and the way that we can look beyond that, take us beyond into a cosmic sense of divinity and immortality. So the rose has always been that representation of divine love and the divine goddess that we know. So Magdalene is the human self-remembering. It is love through presence. When you choose reflection over reaction, intuition over fear, the feminine is rising to stand behind the masculine. Jesus, Yeshua, carried Sophia's wisdom into the world. Mary Magdalene carried Sophia's wisdom into the heart. So it is love through presence. And when we just stop to remember and say those words to invoke Sophia, we can just say, Sophia, flow through me now. That sound will activate what is present within you and bring you to a new reality. So we can invoke these archetypes, these spiritual intelligences that are beyond in the unseen realms to come and be present with us. I'm just seeing, okay. So, how did Sophia get to be here with us? Her act, as I said before, is a mirror of consciousness. She left unity. She left the monad. So her story was a story of separation that we have experienced ourselves. Why did she do it? Like, we're all going back there one day into that unity, which is bliss and harmony and pure love. And we come from love, we return from love. What do you want to leave there for, Hers was the story of compassion. She wanted to feel what it was to be separated so that she could be with us throughout all of time. So Sophia stepped beyond the harmony of the pleroma in order to also to experience herself more fully. And the Sufi teachings tell us this too, that God wanted to know himself. And so he entered into the heart, into the beings. We agreed to carry on that contract and remember our presence and the beloved, who is the pleroma. Yeah. So she wanted to also taste limitation. She was a limitless being. To see what it feels like to forget herself. To see what does it mean to feel the source more intimately when she is separated. She fell into density, into shadow, into form and time. And of course, because she started to create without her balanced partner in the pleroma, the beloved, things got a bit wonky. And she had a birth of what we have now called the Prince of Darkness, Yalbaot. So she actually birthed a being which was a seed of darkness. It was part of the cosmic story. So when we see a lot of what's going on around, the agnostics call it the demiurgos, the archons, which are these powers of darkness. So this is the density and the shadow. In falling, she planted the seeds of awakening and of wisdom and of longing and nostalgia. In the Sufi path, we call that the ishq or ishq. So now Sophia remembers herself through you. This is a very important thing. She's not just out there, through us. So the awareness beyond illusion, the amnesia that covered the soul, was needed so that we may learn through the contrast what unity means. And each act of compassion awakens her spark in you. Every awe we have about the beauty of nature, about the amazing connections we have, the wonderful love we feel in our heart for each other, all of these are an awakening of the Holy Sophia. It's said that Sophia is she who lives and in whom we live, move, and have our being. And there is one of the Sufi teachings, which is we come from a perfect source. We are bound from a perfect goal. And the light of the perfect being is kindled in our soul. So that is the Sophia principle. She came to bring us this light within us. So she didn't actually fall as such, if we think about it then. She entered the mystery. And thank you, Munira, for invoking the mystery today. And this is the awe that I often have. It's like we come, we prepare, and then the mysterious happens. The most amazing thing. And you know, and I've learned, well, I'm learning. I'm still in my limited state. Like I was doing some dances where I belong to a Mullen folk orchestra and I teach circle dances as well, which are wonderful, joyous connections. And I was torturing myself about getting the steps right for these events. But of course, the people that get up and dance for these events, I've never done them before, so I get like a 1 minute to teach or 2 minutes. And then I realised, of course, the Holy Sophia's presence, I live and move and have in her being. It's organic. Things happen out of the blue. That wasn't going to be right, so something else happens. And I realised I wasn't trusting myself. So when we have this part that doesn't trust our inner intuition, we're arguing and we're allowing fear or anxiety to come in. That's more the influence of the element, I guess, of the demiurgos, or the negative side that would like to instill fear. So I'm still learning too, and waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning sometimes to learn this. So the great work is to illuminate the world from within. Awareness going back to source. and we need to choose compassion beyond control. So Sophia also represents herself as Gaia, the living soul of the earth. The awe of nature is Sophia's wisdom returning to us quietly. Love over fear, wisdom over knowledge, connection over control. The ache of incompleteness awakens the call to reunite with the divine. And we bow to heart's wisdom. The Sophia and the Christ, wisdom and light. They are two wings of the same soul. Together they lift creation to wholeness. Every time you choose balance over division, you restore a piece of cosmic equilibrium. You become part of the rising. Sophia's descent or fall was actually an act of love, a willingness to experience this separation so that unity could become conscious of itself, the beloved seeing himself, herself in you. So each time we pause before reacting, I remind myself now, you restore her. Each time you forgive what your mind can't justify, and there seems to be plenty of that in the world, you rise her light. It is the living work of remembrance, what we call in Sufi path the zikr. Through each act of compassion, Sophia gathers her scattered light. It is the inner alchemy that brings heaven and earth together. So how can we remember this in our everyday, today practices that we do, or remembering? When we wake, we can ask, where is the wisdom in this moment? And as you place your hands on your heart and listen, your quiet awareness can expand. So maybe we just try this as an exercise now, putting your hands on your heart and think about something that might be troubling you or you need to make a decision on, and ask yourself, where is wisdom in this moment? And listen into quiet awareness. Allow the awareness of your soul to expand, because it is in the soul where the heart resides and the inner knowing lives. Now, you may not have your answer straight away, but you might have a sense, a feeling. And often that comes first. Maybe a feeling of peace, or what you were thinking about might be giving you some unease. It is all an awareness. So our inner masculine, when we have this balance, our inner masculine gives us clarity, direction, logic. And when we listen in is the divine feminine. Now this is something very interesting. I've been actually looking and doing the practices from Megan Don has got a very good book called The Meditations with Teresa of Avila, A Journey into the Sacred. And this is a beautiful book by Megan Don, which really helps you connect with the Holy Sophia. She doesn't say it as such, but it's actually that. And she was a representation of a Magdalene, Teresa of Avila. This is a version of The Interior Castle, which was a book that Teresa of Avila wrote. And she said very many similar things to what Mary Magdalene said. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, to dance, to praise, and to love, which is almost word for word of what a Mary Magdalene saying is as well. So she talks about, we often get focused on the heart, but the soul is the container of the heart. And she takes us into this breadth and expansion of the soul to experience God's unity and to experience the marriage with the beloved, this balance of the masculine and feminine, and this unity that then will never leave you. So this is what was her journey and her path along the way. An example of one of those things. Now, one of those people who embodied the Magdalene energy. And it was interesting. We're often taught that the feminine is about the state of being and the masculine is about doing. Who's familiar with that? Being, doing? Yeah, we know that. We often beat ourselves up and say, I should be being more, not doing so much. Well, Carl Jung had something interesting to say about this. He said feminine nature relates to the secrets contained in the physical world, and it is its active principle. The goal is to seek union with all that exists. The masculine nature relates to the spiritual world, and it is the passive principle. Discrimination is its goal. So women initiate and bring things into being, and they get the men to help. Is that right, Yusuf? So while men are often busy dreaming and deciding which way is the best, which is the discriminating principle. And of course the ideal is a union of both, so that all doing emerges from a place of being in all individuals. So we save our effort by sitting beneath the tree of divine love, allowing our souls to come into sweet repose, which is the masculine, and from there turn inspiration into action, the feminine. So that really helped me a lot to understand that in a different perspective. So when we are not trying, this is when we are divinely doing. So how we catch ourselves out when we make a lot of effort and we think it's all about us and it's just our own human doing, that creates mental fatigue and delusion. And when we let go, we allow the sacred unity, the beloved, to come in. And of course, by doing our breathing, that slows the mind and the body, magnetizing water, asking for help is always a good idea when you find that you're in your own limitations and space. And coming back to the awareness of the fact that we can create chaos by doing too much ourselves, and the world can be in chaos. Is it a collapse? No, in the Sophia's perspective, it is a correction. So in the symbol of Sufism, we have the winged heart, the power that love has to release us from suffering, from doing it all ourselves. The heart is a symbol of the Divine Mother we talked about before. So we have these two wings of our heart, like the Sophia and the Christ, the wisdom and the light, that helps to lift us up out of our mundane situation. And we can choose light in every moment. So the forces of illusion that are out there, that they feed on anger, on separation, on fear, on anxiety. So all of these things have their opposite. And that's what the Gnostic path talks and teaches us as well. Truth, compassion, unity. So every choice to forgive, to act with integrity, to love, is a victory of spirit over illusion. And it is an invocation of Sophia to be reunited and to overcome the separation. So, how are we going? Right, now we're going into the third part. Everybody following me so far? Any questions? Save them for later. Okay. So I did a one of those Shift Network projects with a woman called Tirza Firestone, Rabbi Tirza Firestone, because I was very interested in how she was going to be connecting the dots of our ancestral roots with the alchemical path, the alchemical elements. That's my thing. So, and with this, wrong book. So, it was very interesting to learn about the glyphs of the Kabbalah in the old teachings of the Hebrew path, that we had the elements of fire, water and air were represented in the word shalom. So Shem was the fire, the lambda, lamas, was the air, which connected the fire and the water, and the mem was the water. So mem, we know the letter from Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and all the Marys. Actually, the Marys or the Mariams are a whole lineage to themselves. And even some men were called Mariams because it meant, it was a title, the beloved of God. So that's why we have so many Marys, the beloved of God. So with this, looking at the elements, the Shem was the fire, the Mem was the water, the Lambda was the air that connected with both. And it said that there was no glyph for the earth element. We are the glyph. We are the glyph. We are the earth. We are the embodiment of light into matter. So it kind of blew my mind when I first heard this, that we know that we are connected with Mother Gaia, that we come from her, and we come from this source of love. We return to her. And in these teachings, in these sacred teachings, we are the glyph of earth itself. So it's awe and mystery beyond. It's like, wow. So when I looked at these, and I looked at we were looking at our ancestors in our family tradition, in our spiritual tradition, in all Father, Mother, all that thing. And I looked and I thought, who are the spiritual ancestors that I have as well? And Isis came through very strongly, and I'd been doing a lot about Sophia and Mary Magdalene, and nothing much was happening for me with Isis, though I knew about her, and I'd done quite a lot about Inanna and her 3-day journey underground. And of course, Isis represents the air element, because you see her, symbol is always with wings under her arms, because she was like the bird who had to travel all around the world trying to find parts of the dismembered parts of her husband, Osiris. So there we know about, a lot of us know about the journey of Isis in that respect. So she was the air element. And then the Ankh came, the first cross of the Egyptian period, and that was the feminine and the masculine combined together. And I took the Ankh as my talisman that helped me connect back to the roots and to my spiritual ancestors. And then from that came this beautiful invocation. First of all, I was invoking the Holy Sophia. And you saw that we had this beautiful picture of Sophia, a representation of Sophia holding the world, and with all the roses and everything coming out, and the plant and all the world coming out of her. That was in the advertising that Munira put together. Thank you, Munira. It was beautiful. And I loved the way there was another element of her holding the world together. So it was like the larger Sophia and the daughter of the Sophia, which is like, I feel like I'm one of her daughters. And we're all one of her daughters. So as I invoke Sophia, and she is that world that is coming into being in our presence. And the Holy Shekinah became the fire, the Shem. And she was, of course, the pillar of light, the pillar of fire with which the Israelites journeyed through the desert. And she's also about the flame of divine love, the indwelling presence of God. And in the Hebrew, in the Jewish tradition, she represents this light, holiness, the warmth and the glory. So Shekinah came, and she was like at the top there, and coming down through the central channel was like Isis. So the Ankh was forming itself, and Isis then spread out with her wings, and she also, or before she spread out with her wings, she came down into earth, incarnated, and that was the Mary principle, or the Maryam, the Mem. And these are the living waters, the eternal waters, the waters of wisdom, the waters that Christ drank from and that informed him as well. The living waters was all of Mary Magdalene and all the Marys that had gone before. Because, of course, Mother Mary was a high incarnate in the Isis temples. She became the embodiment of the cosmic mother. It's there. So I brought the light of Isis through. I invoked Mary Magdalene, the Holy Bride, and Mother Mary down into the earth. And then I give thanks to the Mother Gaia, who strengthens and supports my being. So from that aspect, we come together and we can hold ourselves in this love, this Divine Mother's love, in Mother Gaia's love. And we can also hold her like the world in front of us as well. So all these things just percolated in my brain when I did this course about invoking our ancestors. And I invite all of you to do that too. It's a very beautiful practice to see who is in your spiritual lineage that goes back, that has informed your life. So with the elements, I invoked Holy Sophia, the divine wisdom consciousness, from which all feminine and masculine principles merge. Then I invoke Shekinah, the element of fire, the flame of divine love. I invoke Isis and the element of air, the kundalini that balances the fire and the water. I invoke Maryam and the element of water, of living waters. And Mother Gaia, the element of earth, who is our embodiment and that we are a part of so deeply that we become the glyph for the earth as well. So I could just show you, just to have a little bit of a break from my voice, and we can learn this as an invocation. I made a little film clip from our last retreat when we were doing them, the dances of Mary Magdalene and other dances. So would you like to show that clip? Whoever's, I think it's Atun who's doing putting the video up.
It's Manera, and I have it here.
Everything's good.
Sophia, Shekinah, Isis, Maryam, Mother Gaia, hold us in your arms. Sophia, Shekinah, Isis, Maryam, Mother Gaia, hold us in your arms. Yashakurala, 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 Yashakurala.
Right.
Sophia, Shekinah, Isis, Maryam.
So this dance, when I first came through, keeps morphing. And every time I teach it, there's like a new word or something that happens. So I had hold us in your love, and suddenly everybody was singing hold us in your arms. When I sing hold us in your arms, the love comes through. And then I realized, besides, holding us in your, hold me in your arms, and it could be hold us in your arms. And then, of course, there's a part where you can bless the partner or not bless the partner. And I thought, wow, this is definitely a dance where you can do your own thing. We have very much prescriptions of, do it as the owner, as the originator did it. But I'm finding that the Sophia energy is a very organic energy, and it morphs into other things, into other words that can come. So you're most welcome to do this at any way that comes organically. And I also have found recently, I've had a very beautiful deep dive into a book called, let's see where I wrote it down. It's called The Divine Wisdom. I'll just see if I can get this. The Return of the Divine Sophia. Let me just see where I've got that book. I wrote it down. I'll see if I can get it. Of course, I've got it on my Kindle because I have so many books on there. I'll just show you the cover. The Return of the Divine Sophia by Trisha McCannon. Like that. The Return, of course it's a mirror image. But the Return of the Divine Sophia, healing the earth through the lost wisdom teachings of Jesus, Isis, and Mary Magdalene by Trisha McCannon. And there, I also gleaned the wisdom that Alat was actually the Sumerian Queen of Heaven, Alat. And the Arabic Allah comes from Alat. And I thought, wow, oh. So now I'm singing Yashakur Alat to bring me back into the origin of the Sophia, the Queen of Heaven, and knowing Allah is in the Alat. Well, they're united, really. We don't often use that. So now I'm singing Yashakur Alat, Yashakur Alat. And that somehow brings a different energy into the dance as well. So, let's see. So we're getting almost to the end, and just going to... There is a beautiful reading just at the end of this. A return to the end. Return to the circle. Just finding it. I've lost it by giving the cover. Okay, so this is part of her book. In the beginning was the One, without limits, without judgment, without separation, the One without name, the mystery behind wisdom, the place before space, eternity before time, prime creator, the essence, the beginning and ending, the circle without end, the eternal mother. She says, all things are contained within me, and all worlds are but an echo of myself. I am the seed of your true nature, even as the acorn contains the energy of the mighty oaks. Within you is the power of 10,000 suns, and there is nothing you cannot be if you will only tap into your true self. I am there within, waiting for you to call. If you are willing to listen, I will answer. I am the sound beneath the silence, the I am that I am. We return to love, beyond question, absolute, unconditional, forgiving love. Before there was anything to forgive, love that leads back to wholeness, the doorway to completion, the fabric upon which creation is built. Eternal Mary, the cosmic ocean, Sophia unfolding like a rose, whose love spun from the monad into being. And the winged one who spans all universes, who holds creation in his gaze, the one who came into being from the very thought of love, the longing of love, the companion of love, the eternal Father. He becomes the big eagle, the falcon. And just like Isis, in this image, she sees his great wings fanning out, setting the first elements into motion, fanning the fires of first light, the currents of first air, sculpting the first elements of earth, drawing the first waters of nectar from the wellspring of the eternal chalice. All of these he drew from the mother as his great winged spiral swept the universe into motion. The outward yang drawn from the inward yin of our being. So the two circles joined, overlapping at the center. This created the divine portal, the pattern of life that encompasses power and love, honoring all of whom we are in the majesty of truth. The one who looks into the mirror and sees itself awakening through the heart of divine union. So we can pray and hope that the time is coming when others will remember this truth, and that with this great remembering, we will collectively find the courage to create a brave new world. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you. This has been a very provocative time. And it's all that I can do to not say, okay, let's talk about this now. Let's take time and share our reactions. Sometimes we share full sentences, but I am going to just say and ask people to unmute. And if you could say anywhere from 1 to 3 words, either a feeling or thought reaction, or a word or phrase that you just simply remember that had impact for you. as you heard these great, wonderful descriptions about Sophia, Holy Wisdom. And this will be our blessing. So what are the words that have blessed you?
Being and doing.
Mystery.
Mary, the cosmic mother.
Choose compassion over control.
Mhm.
Comingness.
Bringing it all together in the now with love.
Illuminate the world within.
Beyond duality, beyond duality.
When we are not trying, we are in divine union.
So with these words of blessing as the final blessing, I'm going to ask Anna Sophia if you would just sing for us again. Sing the chant that we saw
Yes.
in the film. And this is our final blessing.
Okay. Sophia, Shekinah, Isis, Maryam, Mother Earth, Gaia, hold us in your love. Sophia, Shekinah, Isis, Maryam, Mother Earth, Gaia, hold us in your love. Yasha Kuralat, 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 Yasha Kuralat.
Shaya Kuralat. Many thanks, and many thanks to everyone who's contributed to your energy and your focus in this time in celebration of Holy Wisdom.
And Yasha Kuralat for inviting me to speak, because it was a wonderful opportunity, and I have a lot more to say about many other things.
You'll come back and another time next year to take it further,
Yes.
or deeper or wider in whichever dimension. So yes, great, wonderful.
Okay.
So
Beautiful.
blessings on everyone. Have a wonderful month, and to whatever adventures in this summer's journey it takes you. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Amen.
Come on down. Come on down.
Yeah.
We've got the biggest rock on the planet here, the great big red womb, you know. And the oldest, 50 red rocks are nearby as well.
I think the meeting
Find
is still
feminine
being
and masculine
recorded.
together in the middle.
Oh.